Our dudes, this is part 2 of Mandate of the Free World, Great Straightening. This is a movement in the Holy Spirit that is clear thinking against the Mayavardic systems of now, which is illusory. A real illusion, but illusory. It's all false in the sense of it's all fiat currency control and legal. So it's all made up laws, basically, to keep us enslaved for 48 weeks, getting a 4-week holiday, generally, worldwide, as natives. We are controlled roughly by about 100 families, ish. You know, let everyone else get into the whole ins and outs, which is all across YouTube, information about these 100 strong families of all across the countries of the world that rule the rest of us, and how we will have to jump yes men all over the place for 48 weeks for 4-week holiday to pay them all back their money, taxation, and be enslaved. And it's just like, isn't it ridiculous that we have a world where we're set up like there's a ruler per country and everyone else in that country has to sort of walk about enslaved and that, and struggle and survive for money, for something that doesn't even really need to be done. You don't need money. You've got an 888. That is to say, you work, rest and play 8 hours each in the work, rest and play. Right, well, we'll keep that, made by Rob and Owen, who freed us about 200 years ago in industry, and working 10, 16 hours a day. So that's cool, we'll have that, but then we'll just remove the 48.4 out of it and put 39.13 in, which is what I'm saying, which is the working 30 weeks between 4 people, giving you back 3 seasons, 39 weeks back to yourself if you're in a job, which most people will be in a job in a free world, because you're in a job now, but only like 5% of the world is in a true career, and everyone else, 95% of the world, when it comes to work, is in a job. You know, whether it's a professional trade or not, how many people can really admit that their professional trade is not really a career, it's just a professional trade that is really in a job to them. And you give people a free world, they'd probably only work 13 weeks in the professional trade they've got when they want to choose to use the professional trade each year for a free world coming up. And say, when I say coming up, it is coming up, this a free world, because if you look at the world and the stats and facts politically of this system that we're under, any time from the next 5 years, next general election, 2029 time, till next 50 years, what I'm saying is going to come forward by the amount of people that are not voting as a trend in way as householders. You see, most of us have stopped voting in. You know, in this country, in UK, I can speak for, now in America, they're high numbers, and always has been the biggest third or silent majority from day one in their democracy. You know, in the illusory system of democracy, which it is, you know, across the world, 100 countries, was it this year in 2024, had a general election from east to west. You know, now what the trend is for all them countries I couldn't tell you, but you know, going on just on the basis of the UK and what I see in America, you know, I could say the trend wouldn't be too far short in other countries as well, being the silent majority, being a third of people in, you know, in other countries in the democratic systems. That's to still be explored, admittedly, and more people that could do that and find out and put their word out and put information and be much granted and basically validated and appreciated, I think, in these times. So it basically fortifies us in becoming a free people. See what I mean? It's like, it ain't too far away in the stats and facts of time, you know. As I say, another 50 years at most is a winter space. But yeah, you know, I say this 5-step plan I go on about is our basic form of how we beat the system. By step 1, they say not voting. That's how we beat the first fortification of their system, by lawful rebellion, not voting in. Step 2 would then become a neutral country, so making all the countries like military neutral. So it's just a free world trade, not a trade with a gun of offensive warfare, which it can happen. You know, that takes the military then in step 2 to house arrest rulers who ain't too willing to play ball, and then have a treaty amongst the countries to say we're all white helmeting ourselves, so the world to say actually non-monetary free trade would be a thing. You know, which I think the only people who can do that in a post position to me would be the military police. You know, and how they would usher in the iron to gold, you know, in their own position. for the greater good and to become public military, and bring a treaty of peace. That's the only thing I could see that they could do. And step 3 would become non-monetary, where it gets really interesting too. You see, this is where all the industries of the world are, small and big, and become non-monetary is when we clear all the debts. Now we clear all the debts, you see, and clear and consolidate all the relevant duties of what's worth keeping and what's not in the small and big of industries in our local areas where we cover the work. You see, where most of us are all working in some post and position, if we are working. This would basically free us. And see, safe as houses as a movement. So when we make all the adaptation or change, because it's non-monetary and all debts are cleared, that being a mortgage or rent arrears in your own house, which is now yours in a free world, because that's the will why we're not voting. And we get to step 3, is that this is when it becomes our free right of chance, basically, to change everything for the greater. So what does I say? When it comes to all these adaptations, you're safe as houses in your own house, which is now yours. You see what I'm saying? For once and for all, you see. And you can only upsize in a free world when you have a bigger family of proof, like you do on the council. You see, that's how we move. You see, in the adaptation. You see, step 4 is when we put in, as I say, you enable this 3913 in human resources, all the relevant duties. You see, and that's how it works out. 30 weeks by 4 people, 1 season by each in the same duty. And becomes realistic simply because once you removed all the false duties, all them people that are working in this world's order of monetary world order and all these positions and duties of products and services that get removed, people just redirect themselves into the relevant services, you see. And the calculation, come remember, there is 8 billion people in the world. This calculation could actually happen, quite easily. We make it happen, simple as that. Step 5 is criminalising all drugs. You have more human resources, more rehab stations, long-term and short-term retreats for people. You see, and this also questions the legal system, step 5, you see, because it's criminalising drugs, which questions the legal system of monetary government and what is legal anymore. You see, it's not monetary related. How much of the red tape's removed because it's all profiteering and falsely dishonouring people in false laws like drugs being illegal, when you could just decriminalise it, like Portugal at the present actually is doing and has and is to criminalise drugs. So in a non-monetary world you could do this. By these 2 moves of step 3 and step 5, becoming non-monetary and criminalising drugs, you have stopped a lot of byproductal crime, monetary related byproductal crime. So the 5, 6 of Kali I've mentioned in other vlogs. Theft stops, prostitution stops, gambling stops, slaughtering his industry stops, big pharma gets reviewed. You see, these are these 5 steps, these are the 5 seats, 5, 6 seats of Kali, gold being the reason why. Once that's removed, all of the cutting off the head of the spirit of Kali, which is Kavera, monetary systems, you basically remove all these other 5 byproductal crimes, you see, and because it's decriminalising drugs, there's no gang war. So there's no more knife war or gang banging or whatever in big, small, in the cartels, you see, because all the drugs are now over the counter. You see, so it becomes more of a peaceful country. But it becomes a bit better. So you're sobering up a system of a monetary world order, so the world becomes a bit better. How much better it comes, I don't know. But it starts to become a bit better, and that's what we strive for. This is why we should be doing this. As a focus drives, this 5-step plan is the way, which is what keeps it. It's not too difficult. This isn't an ism, as I say, but it's none of the 21 or plus isms of the world that you've got in the world, popularism, socialism, the rest of them, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. This is basically back to yoga, which is just basically like free voluntary service between one another. So it's not a karmic system anymore that binds you to money, it's dharmic systems. So it's Krita, Yuga, Bhakti Dharmas, to put a word on it, which are more ancient words of the golden age that we're not in, we're in the Kali Yuga, which brings up all these isms or 21 or so words that people get lost in. It's karmically bounding and basically making people more argue amongst each other, and the whole spectrum being left and right in their system, rather than just cutting right through the whole Mayavadic system, the illusory, in the Holy Spirit, and just seeing it for what it is. Back to yoga is what we need to be doing. Our better nature right now is basically being manipulated by monetary systems, you see. getting rid of it. And how we get rid of it is a lawful rebellion. We stop voting in. See what I'm saying? The troubleshootings, I would say, as I say, 8 million people. Well, yeah, that could make it work. As I was saying before, of 30 minutes by 4 people, so it's realistic. We just haven't got there yet. But as I was saying, we're going to be getting there quite soon in the next 5 or 50 years, guarantee you. Everything becomes a free attainment and access and a mission of all things, because we work it. That's why we're working for free, to keep a free world. So separating the wheat from the chaff of services, as I was saying before. You can only store so much stuff in your house. That's the main thing as well, you see. So you couldn't be that greedy in a free world you want it to be, because most people are living anything from a house share, a bed sit, 1 to 5 bedroom flat or house, most people. So where are you going to store all this stuff? You can only have so many cars in your driveway, as opposed to design 1 or 2 cars if you only got even a driveway, So the poor, like I said, will also be poor in capacity or volume of storage. Understand? Where the rich will be rich in capacity or volume of storage, and it stops the rich getting richer and profiteering in their, world that they're in, that they're already rich in, and keeping us under the thumb screw of monetary enslavement. That's why we've got to stop. See what I mean? So you couldn't be that greedy if you wanted to be. See what I'm saying? That's what it all comes down to. So now you can move around freely in your life. And all you got to do is to book up to turn up in the organisation or pay for it. There'll be waiting lists, for things like that. But you're in a free world now. You're not cooped up in your house so much, or you're in your town, your local area that's costing you to get about. You can move around freely. Even if you're stuck in a bed sit when the X comes down for a free world. You might be waiting for some time to get on the step. That first 1 bedroom place, flat. Like it is now. It's a 7, 10 year, 12 years or waiting list. Whatever the situation is, in your life, But in that meantime, at least you're in a free world and you can move out and get about more. You're not paying for it. You made a book to turn up, but you can move around. That's the bonus here, isn't it? That's the thing. They say you've got to look at the world in its positive. You get a bigger place, as I say, when you have a bigger family. You see, you earn that right for a bigger place, because then it's actually lived in the place. The house has a soul. It's actually used realistically for what's needed. So we run all these things. So then, as I say before, from the ore to the factory, to the store, to the door, it's all us. So we keep it running, and we provide the provision of all these, the supply and demand. It ain't for us turning up. So I say you work 13 weeks by 4 weeks, 13 weeks by 4 weeks. That is, I reiterate again for the umpteenth time. It will set us free. So yeah, I'll leave it like that for today. But this is part 2 of the mandate of the free world, the great straightening. Have a nice day.